Mechanic Resurrection.
So Mechanic Resurrection is the sequel to the remake of the 1970s film with Charlton Heston.
Doesn't happen very much, does it?
No, it doesn't happen really much, does it? So I mean, it's a sequel getting a sequel. Well, it's a remake getting a sequel, and you don't really see that because most remakes flops and don't get a sequel, do they? So now, you watched the first bit of you saw the famous part.
Yeah.
Because the original Mechanic is famous for a 16-minute silent scene where Charlton Heston is not Charlton Heston. What am I saying? Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson. Well, it's a whole sequence. It's not like one scene. It's like it's a long sequence where Arthur is kind of going for his first kill of the film, and it's quite impressive. I kind of got bored after that one turned off.
Yeah.
But it's Charles Bronson, directed by Michael Winner, and that was kind of part of the whole Canon Films thing that we've spoke about on our podcast before. Little plug there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're interesting films because they're sort of quite schlocky B-movie stuff, but I thought it was quite fine. I just got bored and turned it.
I just saw the first one this week, and 2011 that was, and it didn't do too well. I mean, it made about 15 to 20 million back in its original budget, and you wouldn't really think that this would sort of get another sequel considering all the Statham films that have come out. You sort of think he's going for a new one, but you didn't think the demand was very high.
I think it's just because it's Statham.
But I guess there's no real ties to the first one from the original. There's no returning cast members apart from Statham. Obviously, at the end of the last one, spoiler if you haven't seen the last one, his friend dies. Ben Foster. Yeah, well, his friend died, and Jason Statham survives, and now he's living undercover in Brazil, and his sort of, old friend / enemy is bringing them back into action, and he basically kidnaps his new girlfriend that he sort of falls in love with, and he has to go and commit 3 kills, and make them all look like accidents across the globe. One in Malaysia, one in Australia, and then one in a... Where was the last one?
I don't know.
I
can't remember.
Yes.
I'll tell you why I can't remember in a sec.
Yeah, three different kills. I know exactly why we can't remember. But 3 different kills and order to save Jessica Alba, his new girlfriend, and just be a badass, I guess, because it's Jason Statham. Now, I mean, you sort of set the tone for this film right away, because within the first 5 minutes before the titles, Jason Statham escapes assassination attempt by jumping into a sort of tram car that's taking him down the mountains, goes on top of the tram car, and then leaps onto a passing paraglider to safety. Yeah. And that sort of sets you away, really, for the whole thing, because if you can't accept that within the first 5 minutes, then you are not going to get on with this film, really.
You may as well walk out then, yeah.
And there was a similar scene like that in the first one where there's just balls to the wall stupidity. I mean, if you like films like Commando and stuff like that, the films that have no care in the world for internal logic or the laws of physics or anything regarding plots or characters that you really, really care about, then just see a film like this, because it is just stupid, dumb fun, and it's not like turn your brain off fun. It's sort of a spectacle in how stupid it is, because some of the stuff that happens is really... I mean, Jason Statham is a force.
He is great.
Like, he is an action force nowadays. He's I love the Crank series. Crank is amazing.
You know what I think it is? I think he's taken on a whole different level since he did Spy. I think people now are aware, like, you know, people when they get to think of the kind of... The Stath, they think of just some kind of, like, airhead, big, meaty guy. Yeah. He's self-aware, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's an intelligent man.
This film proves how self-aware he is, because it is so stupid.
I mean, this film takes countless inspiration and straight up rips up so many action films. I mean, it steals from things like...
Massively Bond.
There's so many Casino Royale homages in this film. It's just absolutely insane. I mean, it takes DNA from every kind of film, but it's just... You've just got to sort of go along with it, really. I mean, it's what you've got to expect, I think, because... If you're not willing to go along with a ride, you're just going to hate it, because you're going to be like, well, that wouldn't happen, well, that's stupid. But you just got to accept, you got to be like, right, I'm watching Jason Statham I'm watching Jason Statham rub shark repellent on himself, blow a wall open of a Malaysian prison, and then jump into the water and swim away from the sharks. Yeah. You just got to sort of accept that happens, and then you probably will have a great time, because that's exactly what kind of film it is.
It's getting a really rough ride, isn't it, from critics? Yeah. But it is pretty flimsy.
It is not a good film.
It looks really cheap. Like, it looks cheap and pretty nasty. It's really forgettable. I literally fell asleep and I could still tell you the entire thing that happened. Yeah. It's really throwaway, but it's quite crunchy, isn't it? Like, a lot of the violence is pretty brutal.
It is.
But I mean, the first one's the same. Like, there's that big fight scene with Ben Foster, which is like really good. Jessica Alba as a Bond girl, I mean, she's stiff as a board. I mean, she's getting work at least. She should be happy for that because she's not getting a lot of it anymore. But yeah, I fell asleep and I can still tell you what happened.
Yeah,
it's the kind of film where there's just nothing happens.
It's absolutely not a good film.
No,
the action's great.
The action
you can see the action. Like it's not cutting away from before the hits. You can see the punches and you roll with it and you can see everything that's going on. And I think the soundtrack's great. I think the whole thing is just a really, really entertaining ride. I mean, you just really just got to go with it, and if you do that, you'll have a great time.
As enjoyment goes,
it's a proper Saturday night
I'm not
film.
saying it's the better film because it definitely isn't, but I enjoyed it more than Bourne.
Yeah,
because Bourne was trash. It was rubbish. I mean, we're
not going to get on about that, are we?
This is trash, but it knows it's trash, and it's kind of more.
It's entertaining B-movie fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way. I mean, the screen on me room is full of old people.
Yeah.
And it could be the fact that it's just, that they're having a day out. I don't know. It could be the fact that it is it's a canon film from back in the 70s, and that's kind of their youth, and they want to see the remake. I mean, they'd probably be quite taken back. It's just stupid hitting people and stuff.
Yeah.
That's Mechanic Resurrection. Recommend.
Absolutely. I mean, it's perfect Saturday night fluff, really, isn't it?
Wasn't expecting to say that.
No, I was not expecting.